Hi, the question will appear on your screen in few seconds. Please pause this video to solve the question on your own, and once you are done, resume the video to check the solution. Here is the question. Let's start with passage analysis. From 1973 to 1986, so a timeline has been given to us. It starts in 1973 and till 1986. What happened in this duration? Growth in the United States economy was over 33%. So we are talking about US economy, and we are saying that growth in this US economy was over 33%. So it can be 34%, 35%, 50%, anything. We do not know the exact number. What we know is that US economy grew in this duration, and this growth was more than 33%. We know the growth was in terms of percentage, it was greater than 33%. All right, let's read further. While, so we have a contrast word here, while. So we are going to read something contrasting. Let's see what it is. The percent growth, so again we are talking about percent growth in United States energy consumption was 0. So now we are talking about US energy consumption. So you can see that this is also US, this is also US. So we are talking about the same place. Earlier we were talking about economy. Now we are talking about energy consumption. And now we are saying that percent growth, which is the same factor that we talked here also. This is also percent growth. But the percent growth for US energy consumption was 0, which means the energy consumption did not increase from 1973 to 1986. If you compare, you'll see that the energy consumption was same when it started, and in this entire duration basically it was the same. The energy consumption did not increase in this duration. Now what does this mean? You read this word while here, which is a contrast word. So what is the relevance of this word here? So here the contrast is that something is different from expectation, right? So the author is trying to say that it was expected that the usual expectation would be that US economy would grow, which means there would be more activities, right? More factories, more production, which means there would be more energy required, which means the energy consumption would increase, right? So this was the expectation. However, the actual observation is different. The actual observation is that energy consumption has not increased. It has not reduced also, but it has not increased also. It is the same. There's no change. 0% increase in this energy consumption. And this difference between the expected and actual observation is the contrast here. So this is the significance of this contrast word. You get to know that okay, this is something that was not expected. And this is the usual expectation. So maybe the author was also expecting the same thing, but because this actual observation is different, this is a contrast that has been observed here. All right, let's read further. The number of barrels of oil being saved per day. Now, this is a new term, number of barrels of oil being saved per day. We have not read about it. So, we are talking about number of barrels of oil being saved per day. Now, this is a new term. So, if we relate it to what we have been reading, barrels of oil, that is oil, is related to energy. We get energy by using oil. So, it can be related to energy. Now, we are talking about barrels of oil being saved, so energy being saved. So, this number of barrels of oil being saved per day by energy efficiency improvement. So, we are talking specifically about how much oil we are saving per day by energy efficiency improvements. So, some energy efficiency improvements have been done. That has not been mentioned which one, but because of these energy efficiency improvements, we are saving some barrels of oil per day, and how much that is made since 1973 is now 13 million. So again, we are talking about it is the period which is starting from 1973. That is the same as the one which is already mentioned here, but it is still now. It is not till 1986. We are talking about how many barrels of oil have been saved per day till now, starting from 1973, but till now, not till 1986. And this is 13 million. Now this is a huge number. 13 million barrels of oil being saved every day. which means that these energy efficiency improvements are making a significant contribution. So this is an inference that you can draw, that these energy efficiency improvements are making a significant improvement. They have helped save 13 million barrels of oil per day since 1973 till now. All right. Now, how do you relate this information to what you've already read? The first sentence told us that US economy grew in this period, but energy consumption did not grow. And at the same time, you get to know that because of these energy efficiency improvements, we have saved 13 million barrels of oil per day. We have been saving that much oil in this entire duration. So 1973 to 1986 falls in this entire duration. That is, we have been saving we have been saving 13 million barrels of oil per day in this entire duration. Now, how can you relate it back? You know that energy consumption did not increase here. Now, there can be multiple factors because of which this energy consumption did not increase, but the second line tells us that energy efficiency improvements were one significant factor because of which this energy consumption increase was zero. So now let's update our bridge table. So if you understood the passage logic correctly and completely, you can mark a tick here. However, if you missed anything or you misunderstood anything, you missed reading a word, you missed understanding the contrast, you missed relating how energy efficiency improvements kind of explain the first statement, anything that was missed or misunderstood, you need to mention it here and the reason why you missed or misunderstood it. This will help you take the corrective action so that this type of mistake does not happen again. We do not. Now, let's understand what the correct answer choice should convey. The question stem here says, if the information above is correct, that is, if the passage is considered to be true, which of the following conclusions can properly drawn on the basis of it? So the conclusion that is being asked here is something that is definitely true. So the question is essentially asking for an inference. So whenever a question stem asks you for a conclusion that can be drawn based on the passage, consider the passage to be true and what conclusion can be drawn, it is basically asking for a correct inference. So the correct choice here will convey something that is definitely true as per the passage. So it needs to convey an inference. It will convey something that is definitely true as per the passage. Now let's update our bridge table. If you identified what this correct answer choice needs to convey, mark a tick here. Otherwise, mark a cross here and write down the reason. Maybe you were not sure that questions asking for conclusions are actually asking for inferences, or maybe anything. Choice A. It is more difficult. So we are comparing the difficulty of something to find new sources of oil, then to institute new energy conservation measures. So this choice is comparing the difficulty of finding new sources of oil with the difficulty of instituting new energy conservation measures. And it is saying that it is more difficult to find new sources of oil. Now, does the passage anywhere talk about the difficulty of finding new sources of oil and difficulty of instituting new energy conservation measures? Does it give you any information based on which you can say that, yes, this is more difficult? Can you say that? So, if you cannot say that, the answer is no, you cannot say that. So, if you cannot say that, can this be definitely true as per the passage? The answer is no, and that is why this choice cannot be a correct inference and it cannot be a correct conclusion drawn based on the passage. So, choice A is incorrect. Now, if you marked choice A, did you not understand what choice A is trying to say? Did you not understand it properly? Or did you not gauge the alignment? That is, did you not see that choice A is not saying what the correct answer choice needs to convey? It is possible that your understanding was incorrect here itself. You did not know what the correct answer choice needs to convey. So that can be the root cause. Or you did not understand what choice A is saying, or you did not check that choice A is not conveying something that is definitely true as per the passage. So any of these can be the reason why you made this mistake. Please update the reason here, that what was the reason why you could not do it, why you ended up selecting choice A. Please update the reason here. With this, we have updated choice B, oil imports. So now we are talking about oil imports, that is how much oil is being imported, cannot be reduced. So we are saying that oil imports cannot be reduced unless, so there's a situation given to us, a condition given to us, unless energy consumption does not grow at all. So we are saying that oil import, how much oil we are importing, for example, if we are importing 100 units, we cannot reduce this import unless energy consumption does not grow at all. So energy consumption has to stay constant for oil imports to grow. That is what choice B is saying. However, does the passage mention any condition under which oil imports can be reduced or cannot be reduced? What is the impact of energy consumption staying constant on oil imports? Does it mention anything? No. So, can it be definitely true as per the passage? The answer is no. So, it cannot be a correct inference or a correct conclusion, and that is why it is incorrect. Now, again, if you selected choice B, go back to your bridge table, see whether you were able to understand choice B properly, and then did you gauge the alignment or did you falter here only? So, any of these would give you the root cause behind selecting choice B, that is, selecting incorrect choice. The root cause can also be not understanding the passage logic. So, any of these could be the choice C. A reduction in the consumption of gasoline. So, we are talking about a reduction in the consumption of gasoline was the reason. So, it was the reason behind something. Overall energy consumption remained steady. So, the passage tells us that the overall energy consumption in US remained steady in that period. Now, this choice says that this reduction in consumption of gasoline was the reason. Does the passage tell us what was the reason behind this overall energy consumption remaining steady for US in the given period? The answer is again no. The passage does not give us this information, and therefore it need not be definitely true as per the passage, and therefore it cannot be a correct assumption or conclusion, and it is incorrect. Again, if you selected choice C, you have to go back to your bridge table and understand whether this or this or this or this is the reason you selected choice C. Please update your. Let's evaluate choice D now. It is possible. So, we are talking about a possibility. We are not saying something with certainty. What is the possibility? For an economy. So, we are talking about an economy. That is a general economy. We are not talking about any specific economy. So, the possibility is being discussed for an economy to grow without consuming additional energy. So, the passage gives us an example that US economy grew without consuming additional energy, right? Because energy consumption did not reduce in a specific period, but the US economy grew without consuming additional energy. So the passage gives us an example of an economy that grew without consuming additional energy. So, can we say that as per the passage, this possibility is true? The answer is yes, because the passage has already given us one example of an economy that grew without consuming additional energy. So, as per the passage, it's definitely true that an economy, a specific economy, we are not saying that every economy can do that, it can always do that, but that possibility exists for an economy to grow without consuming additional energy. So, this is something that can be inferred from the passage. It is something that is definitely true as per the passage, and therefore it is a correct conclusion here. So, the correct answer choice is choice D. Now, if you rejected choice D, you have to understand why did you reject this correct answer choice? What was going on in your mind? Did you not understand the meaning, or did you not relate it back to the passage, or whatever was the reason? You did not read it properly, whatever it was. And this understanding, this explanation will help you understand what you can do in other questions so as not to repeat this mistake. So, with this, choice E, the development of non-traditional energy sources. So this choice is talking about the development of non-traditional energy sources will make it possible. So this development will make it possible for the United States economy to grow even faster. Now this choice is presenting a condition that can make it possible for United States economy to grow even faster. So does the passage tells you about anything about the impact of development of non-traditional energy sources? We do not even mention non-traditional energy sources in the passage. We cannot infer anything about these non-traditional energy sources. We cannot infer anything about the impact of the development of these non-traditional energy sources on the US economy growth. And that is why this choice cannot be definitely true as per the passage. And that is why it is incorrect. It is not a correct inference. It is not a correct conclusion, and choice E is incorrect. Now, if you mark this choice, let's go back to the bridge table. Understand, were you able to understand what choice E is saying properly? Did you have a clear understanding there? Did you then, if your understanding was correct, then did you gauge alignment? Did you see that, okay, the passage does not talk about the non-traditional energy sources or the impact of their development on US economic growth? Did you question that? Were you not clear enough with the passage to question it? Or you did not know what the correct answer choice needs to convey? So all this analysis will help you understand where you faltered in this question. You have to get to that root cause, and you need to see what is the corrective action. So how can you avoid this mistake in other questions? So that is how. So we are done with this question now, and you have your updated bridge table that tells you what kind of mistakes you made in this question. Hope you will be able to take the corrective actions for these mistakes and not repeat these mistakes in the other questions. If you need any help deciding the corrective actions, do let us know.